I did not think of an intro. I said I was ready, and I didn't think of one. It's Boundless Shores. It's joined
Who did
by
that?
me, Dracula. I was hoping for that, but it didn't come.
No, hold on, I got you.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Oh, I love those sound effects. They're so fun. Dungeon Master West, back at it again. Boundless Shores, episode 74?
5,
Is it 5?
I believe. 75.
Shit.
Episode
75.
7. Episode Survivor.
Episode 75. Holy shit. That's weird. I didn't even realize we're at 75 right. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Pat on the back to us. Round of applause. Of course, join with me. Gonna speedrun this in one breath. James Owen. Nope. James Owen, Shalin, Liam, Nate, Chris. I guess I'm doing it in a horseshoe shape.
That was definitely not in order.
No, not in order. I did it in like a horseshoe on my screen.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my bad. I said Owen and looked at Chris and I'm like, nope. What?
First try.
James, did you listen to the whole of last episode?
Yeah.
Alright, well, you're the most fresh. Recap what happened last episode.
Dude, I've had to recap like 3 of the last 5 sessions.
Yeah, well, Chris and Liam just did it. Nate can do it. Oh, but Nate did it. Yeah, Nate, you can do it.
Who? Me or Nate?
Nate can do it if you don't want to do it.
I don't care.
Put Charlotte on the spot. Charlotte was there last episode. He can do it.
You won't remember half the names. I mean, he was taking notes, which is good, but...
He was taking notes. That's some note takers. No, you're fine. Nate, you do it.
Okay. So last we left off, we had a very big conversation, walking into, wait, no, that was last episode. Last we left off, we were in the vampire, we were just setting off, for the Vampire Hill Manor. Peter and the rest of the group deciding to come along with Ionatan on his journey, following the spores back home to the Scar Forest. After having a bit of conversation between the group, we set off for the Scar Forest. After meandering around, traveling in Blackwater to get to our destination. No. What am I missing?
The other city that starts with black.
Blackmere.
Ah. See,
Yeah.
writing it, I was like, we're not going to confuse this.
Yeah,
I lied. I confuse it all the time. We all confuse it. I should have done a different name. My bad. Could you backtrack just quickly regarding stuff happened earlier in the episode with Alistair and Sparrow before we get to Blackmere? Blackmere? Meal? Blackmere?
Alistair and Sparrow.
Sorry.
What? Alistair and Sparrow had a conversation before Blackmere. Duh.
Talking with
No,
Alistair's
like the stuff
conversation.
regarding Alistair and then also the stuff regarding Sparrow, not connected.
Oh, okay.
The conversation with the poison and investigating the Ionatan. Doing great.
Before adventuring off to Blackmere, Alistair having a mysterious portal open up, just walked in and her brain fog be hitting
What?
for
Alistair
Nate,
was in the hole.
I'll give you.
I can do this.
I'll give you a break. All right, you go ahead, buddy.
Okay.
You recap this part.
So while we were on our 4 days of mandatory rest, Alistair was in his hole, and he decided to take the time to use the mask to talk to the poison. He decided to use, I forget the name of your assistant that you have in the hole.
Zinnia.
Zinnia. Decided to use
All
Zinnia
of my
to.
constructs are named after plants.
Okay. Decided to use Zinnia to imitate him lying in the bed as he goes into the bathroom and uses the mask as a connection to the poison to try to talk more about their deal. Poison's worried that Alistair is trying to find a way to get out of the deal, but Alistair assures him that that is not the case. As with Sparrow, Sparrow arrives in Blackmere searching for Mr. Kariki. While he is searching around because he is trying to find a connection to the Ade Naul for a person that has sold an artifact. And that's the rough of it. Back to you, Nate.
Perfect. Back to you, Nate. With catching up with the Ionatan traveling through Blackwater. Mirror.
Mirror.
Merely Blackwater.
Merely Blackwater. Who knows?
Nate. No.
Hi. After that conversation with the poison, we set off for Blackmere. Well, not for Blackmere, but having to walk through Blackmere to get to the Scar Forest. After perusing around a little bit in Blackmere, a gentleman spoke behind us, caught our attention, and so after having a brief conversation with the gentleman named Battle, we decide to travel together in the hopes of
Top 10. Sorry.
we decide just having a hushed conversation about what Sparrow is doing there, about why both the Sparrow and the Adi Naul are there. They decide to travel together and just team up to achieve their goals. With the Adi Naul also hoping to take down Amarath. And so, traveling down for a couple of days, right? Couple of days walk to the Scar Forest.
No, I believe it was half a day. It's not far.
Okay. So after roughly half a day of travel, they arrive at the Scar Forest. Oh wait. They arrived in Palor to find Palos. Sorry. They arrived in Palos to find the city just burned to the ground. No really signs of activity anywhere. After Ionatan activated his his wolf senses through a spell, he followed the spores down a path and discovered a very suspicious looking roots. So after cutting into the cutting through the roots, he discovered that bodies of the civilians of Palos in the ground, seemingly feeding these roots, which made Ionatan sick to his stomach and nearly hurling as a result. After a brief little exchange between the party, they continued on their journey, eventually wandering into the Scar Forest, where they encountered a what was the name of the plant?
Assassin Vine.
Assassin vines. Thank you. They encountered a series of assassin vines which crept up all over them, and Ionatan and Sparrow speaking in Sylvan to try to calm the plants down and reassure them that they're not there to harm them. Uh, a couple of the assassin vines started squeezing the life out of Layla and hitting her for some big damage. And then Sparrow had Sparrow coach the group into saying the Sylvan that they weren't there to harm them and to let them pass. After that, just a quick meander down to the tree where Yonatan's village laid.
You actually journeyed to, sorry, just a quick correction. You journeyed to Yonatan's village first. That's where you started your adventure after leaving. And then you traveled up through Palor, and now you experienced the assassin vines in the northern side of the Scar Forest, where you guys found a clearing and decided to have lunch. Where you catch up? You got us exactly where we needed to do. That was awesome.
Okay, great.
Did great. Absolutely. We catch up with the Adainaul after leaving the nest of assassin vines and finding a clearing. Tobin, you've been kind of silent during this journey. You know, you were maybe a little bit cold to Sparrow when he first entered, but you've just been thinking about the warning that the poison gave Alistair.
Oh, did he tell us
Yeah.
about that? I didn't hear him tell
I
us
believe
about
he
that.
did. I thought he did.
I don't think he told us anything about
Really?
that.
Okay.
I've just been chatting it up with Mivney in my
So
brain
far-
hole,
So far, everything's
Oh,
been
fair
quiet.
enough.
teaching Mivney things. So she asked, telepathically just been asking me random shit. I'm like,
You know
this
what?
is that.
I like that. You just kind of distracted by your new dragon companion. As we fade in, taking an hour rest in the small clearing, breaking into Alistair's provision box. What do we find? The Adainaul with their new friend Sparrow, getting up to talking about during this hour rest as we catch up with them.
Well, after I'm done kind of eating my lunch, letting Mivney try a little bit of everything so she can kind of figure out what she likes.
What is cheese?
It's a form of aged milk.
It's bacterially curdled milk. So technically, it's more of a fungal mold that's been concentrated to a solid form.
Now, most of the time, you do not want to eat mold, Mivney. Do not try eating it when you see mold, but cheese is fine.
There is a variety of incredibly rotten food that humans take as delicacies that most other creatures would regard as garbage and waste. Fine example is most preserves, strawberry or fruit preserve and vegetable preserves included in that. Oh, don't forget as well pickles. Just about really anything that has either been salted or contains a heavy volume of vinegar, basically is broken down, assorted, rotting food.
Right, but I find
In
there is a difference between fermentation and mold. So you do want to, it's not as many moldy things that we eat, but certainly a lot of fermented things. Not to say there isn't a good bit of moldy things we eat as well.
Open in your mind, you hear me say, "Does he always talk this much?"
Hey, aren't you seeking knowledge? You should be grateful.
Books don't talk that much.
Anyways, Tobin will kind of like wipe his hands off, and he's gonna approach Sparrow and just be like, "Hey, um, you may have noticed I was a bit skeptical of you in the beginning, but I do appreciate the save. I just wanted to come over here and say that because I may not have seemed the most grateful right after the event."
Well, of course. I mean, I'm here to work with you guys, and I hope that you can work with me, and you know, just continue on. And I understand the distrust. I would probably distrust some random stranger, you know, talking about someone you have bad blood with.
Yeah. Well, for now, we have a common goal, so hopefully we can end up working well together.
I hope so as well.
All right. Tobin will just kind of begin packing up his stuff to get ready to head back on the road.
Orgolan is found leaning up against an old tree stump that's kind of overgrown and leaning a little bit to give him that perfect angle as he rests back. And beyond his goggles, he's resting his eyes and enjoying the tranquility and the silence of the remoteness of your location. As um, Tobin, you begin to walk back towards your stuff to pack it up, and you trip over his foot for a moment, waking him out of his tranquility.
My bad.
I say if we're all ready to go, we should probably keep moving.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, just getting my stuff together.
Yeah. Without any other necessary needs, you all pick up your bags and begin to trek back down. Or before you trek down the path, Ionatan, I assume you let a few more of the Amica Eternus spores out of your vial to distinguish the direction that you need to travel. Can you give me a survival check?
Yeah, for sure. Uh, 23.
23. Um, how long did your I can't remember the exact name of the spell. The your tuned senses.
Oh,
How
one.
long does that last? Since you traveled, it's probably been 3 hours, I'd say. at best, since you've released the spores and we're tracking it from your conclave to through Palos to where you are now on the northern side of the Scar Forest.
Yeah, no, the spell's expired at this point. 10 minutes further.
What because you know that you need a keener nose to be able to track these spores, what actions are you going to take to be able to follow this trail?
I'm just
Peter.
Peter, the horse is here.
Yeah.
Oh, Peter. Oh, you know what? I didn't even put two and two together.
Hey,
God, I
hey.
hate this joke.
Hey, Peter!
Hey, Peter. Across the room, fucking Andrew joins in. I love it.
Hey, Peter.
Hey,
Can
Peter.
can you track these spores for me?
Oh, 15 episodes, y'all. 15 episodes. I didn't realize Peter's name was a Peter Griffin joke. 15 episodes, everybody. Give me a round of applause. Nate, this is why you're known as the Druid.
Yes.
So, hey, Peter. You ask Peter to begin the spores as he takes a small sniff of it and begins to sniff along in through the air as he leads you down a path is giving it credit. It's claustrophobic. You have to really push through a lot of branches and thickets. Kind of Peter has no problem with it. He's flapping his wings as he flaps up onto a pile of rocks and just gracefully glides down and continues tracking as you guys come up on like a cluster of circular boulders that kind of surround in a thicket that you kind of you notice to the right and your left. It's too thick unless you pull out your weapon and hack through the surrounding area or climb over the boulders as you guys reach this roadblock.
Harpoon Flight Services. At your disposal.
I'm gonna cast the second level spell, Easy Trail. For 1 hour per level, I radiate an energy that gently pushes plants aside, allowing easy passage and hiding your trail after you pass. The effect essentially provides a trail through any kind of undergrowth, reducing any movement penalties from terrain caused by dense vegetation.
I like it. You weave this spell as you watch this bushel of thorns begin to curl back, creating a perfect archway for you all to be able to march through around these boulders and through this thicket as Sheldon, you're the last person to walk through, literally just behind you. As your body presses through, the thorns begin to crush back into themselves and reform into the wild grown thicket of vines.
Oh, how lovely.
As you pass through this obstacle, catch up with Peter, and begin to walk forward, you see Peter stopping, sniffing a small cluster of these stone gray mushrooms as he looks up and smells forward as you see clusters of caves that are built into a low-hanging mountain hill. You see thick vines kind of masquerade the dwellings beneath as they kind of curl in deep into the mountain underground.
Hmm. Um. All right. Something. Well, shall we go?
You approach one of the caves that's really overgrown with vines as you kind of push them aside like curtains. As you look within this small curling cave, you see clusters of mushrooms growing from the walls and the floors as vegetation is lined through this claustrophobic cave of mushrooms.
Okay. Is there anything else around that I can see?
This particular cave in here, this one overgrown with mushrooms, it kind of reaches in and curves to the left. Um, as this one, more than most of the caves, are a lot more overgrown with mushrooms, as you just feel the hum of life that dwells within this cave, as this feels like the best bet where your journey will lead you. And as you guys begin to step into the cave, I just need to call a quick break. Now that we're rolling, I'm going to say this. We're going to get a mushroom count in the corner every time I say mushroom or fungus this session.
What can we say, man? You're a fun guy.
I haven't decided which one I want. We're doing this one.
I think I'm ready to drop out of the
I liked
campaign
it.
now.
Oh, come on.
Nice going, Nate.
So,
No.
The easiest way to get people to leave is to introduce them to your D&D group.
so
That's how I met half these people.
true. The Arena Wool begins to purge within this narrow, mushroom-filled cave. I'm gonna be subconscious.
I'm not going to put the counter up for that one. That was forced.
Yeah, no, it was like, yeah, no, you're right.
Do
The
better.
Cave of Decay.
You see Peter beginning to crawl his way through a narrow moss path. I did do my vocal rolls today, but I still am tripping over my words. You guys traverse the narrow path between the thickets of mushrooms below. You guys walk along this path, probably no more than 10 minutes, as you come across a small stream that trickles down from the ceilings and walls and carves through the mossy floor below. See a school of minnows ride the rapids, nipping at clusters of algae as they pass by. Beyond the stream, the cave twists. So you guys continue to walk along until it opens up into a wider chamber. Here you see a collage of colorfully capped mushrooms that some even grow as tall as small trees. as their caps kind of cast over somewhere above a glowing algae gives this chamber a dull earthen light to it. So you guys see on the opposite side of the chamber, an old man sits within a large cluster, his eyes closed. See his form, he wears a lot of like earthen colored clothing. You see even kind of some plants kind of grow off of like parts of off of his clothing, and like a fungus kind of it clings to his shoulders. So he sits in absolute stillness. His bald head and his closed eyelids. You see a tattoo of a leaf in the center of his forehead. As he sits cross-legged, in a meditative, almost trance, as you guys all file into this chamber.
Ionatan, do you know the old guy?
I do I I'd like to think back to Arist and see if it's the same man I
This
saw.
is the same man that you saw that created your bow staff.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I
The one the one differentiation between that old man and now is now it seems he has revealed this leaf tattoo on his forehead. You remember that it wasn't there when you met him in Arist, but now it seems to be revealed in this and now that you met him again.
yeah, dude, this same dude in Arist when he made my bow staff.
Oh, what's he doing
We
here?
we weren't in Eris all that long ago. Did does does the mushrooms inside of this area really take that little time to colonize?
I guess
Maybe we should get some samples.
could be under.
As sorry, continue, Nate.
I mean, it could be growing faster under extraneous circumstances or something of the like.
This cave is very dank. That could help.
As you guys are discussing between
Roll
yourselves,
for that.
you see suddenly a nymph made entirely of mushrooms appear near you as she kind of emerges from one of the larger stalks of the large mushrooms. As she stands there, graceful and elegant in appearance, but ultimately it's still made up of different clusters of different mushrooms and fungi. As you see a large kind of cap of mushroom hangs kind of out of her head. She stands there, she says, "The Ade now will have arrived, Wild Warden." In that moment, you see the old man opens his eyes. It's his cloudy eyes glance upon you. The cloudy eyes of a blind man. "Ah, young leafling. Welcome home.
Thank you.
Friends, my name is Arceal Willerun. I'll let Nate finish his mouthful as he takes that one in.
Deal.
Was that the name of your friend?
Yeah, it is.
I thought he died. Oh wait, but then he didn't.
Yeah, I thought he died too, and then I got my memory back, and last I saw him, he was alive. How are you, my old friend?
I'm so glad you came, Amicus Meus. I missed you dearly.
I missed you too.
It is good to finally see you. May I allow me to see your face?
I am going to go sit on the ground in front of him and just
You
meditate and try
walk
to.
walk forward and sit before him. As you close your eyes, the rest of you see all of the mushrooms around you begin to release their spores into the air. It's almost like a dull, golden, hazy flourish of floral smells that hit the air in your nose. They drift throughout the room as you see Arceel's face, his smile grows. As you see his eyes still cloudy, but yet almost begin to see all of you in this space. I'm so glad you came. I have been watching you. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to speak to you till now. I'm sure you have many questions. I'm open to answering them for you.
What happened to you, Arceel?
Um, well, when the devastation happened and Mount Anghor erupted, you cracked. You did. You leapt to action. You tried to help. As the lava poured in, you lost control. You ran, and so I chased after you. This sickening green fire. You erupted and you attacked me. I was able to fend it off, and in the steam, I ran and I hid. And I went to look for you and you were gone. I thought you died. But after that day, when you cracked, when you let your true nature reveal itself that day. My friend, you did not kill me. You freed me. After that day, I left. I left to seek tranquility. I knew people, even our own, were distraction. Kind of smiles, but it's almost mournfully. I found solitude in nature. I sowed seeds to help the land regrow. But sorry. It was peaceful. I heard the heartbeat of the earth once more. Until the mortals came. They destroyed the beautiful land, and then more came, and they choked the skies with sickness. I feel the earth mourns her death. That's where I've been.
Huh. What did you notice the odd looking vines near Palos?
God looking what? Sorry?
The odd looking vines over in near Palos.
My handiwork. I took advantage of a natural disaster, and I fed the plants to return back to where they belong.
The bodies stink, by the way. Just so you know.
The bodies, a good fertilizer to return beauty back to the land.
Yes, of course. The cycle of life and death and rebirth.
Just with like the kind of um, turn this conversation is taking, like the shift in his like demeanor, seeming a little more angry. Tobin's just gonna shift himself a little bit to be like kind of standing right in front of Layla, like not right in front of her, like close to her in case he had to like grab her or something, just because he's getting shady vibes from this guy.
She kind of also feeling this change in conversation, also kind of shrinks behind you, almost sits back to back with you as she looks out, as she kind of whispers into your ear. There's more mushroom people. You noticed?
Tom will kind of do a glance around the room.
You saw the one fungal nymph, but as you look around now, there seems to be 5 or 6 kind of dotted around the room.
He'll give a silent, subtle nod.
Angry, Arceal.
Angry is not the word I would use. Amicus Muse. I was approached by someone, a friend. I believe he's a mutual one of ours.
Oh?
He promised us our own region, unblemished, pure of the sick hand of humanity. Promises us freedom, Ionatan, where nature can grow, yielding, return to the primal state that I saw you return to. unabused by mortal touch. You see, in my vigil, I have learned things. Varus has grown soft with these creatures. Let them ruin her natural beauty by taming it and harnessing it for their own ends. Life has had enough death, Ionatan. And they sow the seeds of death for the world. We could have our own eternal garden. Our own world.
With this escalation here, and Tobin noticing all of these like spore people and stuff kind of like showing up around the room, he's gonna telepathically ask Mivni to what she thinks of them. So she's going to cast Insidious Insight, which gives her a +10 to a sense motive check, to sense motive checks.
Excellent. Roll her sense motive for me.
Okay, I'm using can I use my inspo points on Mivni's rolls? I feel like that's
Go for it. Go for it.
okay.
This seems like a good moment. I'll give you that one.
Yeah. Where is it here? Sense motive. That's gonna be a 28 on just like all the spore people in the room, because we already I already kind of can see this guy's vibes, so I'm not really worried about sense motivating him, but like the creatures that seem to be surrounding us in a way.
His aura is crimson. There is ill intent in the room. The nymphs are not hostile, but they seem on edge.
Let me know if their intent seems to change.
I will.
Thank you,
You
Mivni.
see, Arceal continue his speech as he says, Ionatan, our own world. Can you imagine? Beauty, untamed.
Yes, I can imagine it. I dream of it almost every night. Our own little world with animals and nature and everything. Everything we could ever possibly dream of.
Exactly.
Our
You
society
only,
back to what it once was. Everything.
you only have to free yourself of your impurities. These cysts you call friends. Let me cleanse you, and together we can make things right.
Tobin's gonna tell Mivni to move to Layla's shoulder.
She springs back and flutters onto Layla's shoulders.
Arceal, I would love nothing more than to have an unfettered civilization of our people and nature. To have all of this destruction and rot go away forever and just be in peace for all of our days. the civilization that you dream of, all of the things you spoke of. It's always nice to dream and to think about, but that's all it ever will be. Dreams and thoughts. The forces you play with, they don't have your best intention at heart. They're merely trying to seek to bend you to their will to enact their plans. And the fact that you don't see it makes me sick to my stomach. You dirty
You're
bastard.
a fucking traitor to your own cause. I hope your roots never grow. Your stems die. I hope you rot in hell with the rest of these mortal cysts. I thought
I'm a traitor to my culture.
I saw you give in. And I thought it was beautiful. Give in. He's going to cast Command Person and try to force you to give in to your elements. How do you resist?
I am going to resist by just closing my eyes and thinking back on all the friends I've made, all the places I've explored, nature, in nature or otherwise, and just think back to our people and just think that I'm gonna try and save our seal for everyone.
And as you resist, you see Arceal's eyes flash in rage. Tobin, you hear in your head, plug your nose.
Plugging nose.
Yep.
As all of Tobin hears this in his head as Mivni reacts to these fungal nymphs as they begin to expel in.
I believe she
house of
has
spores.
just like telepathy in general. She could probably tell everybody.
Oh, Sig, so she communicates with all of you to plug your nose. As roll me fortitude with advantage.
Okay.
Where?
Pretty.
Oh.
Tone got 33.
Yeah, I believe it's 22 DC.
Yeah, Caldwin still fails.
No,
Is
really?
it like a breath thing? Because Mibney doesn't have very high fortitude, but she could she has like a a deep breath spell that'll give her like fresh air.
She'll be fine then
Okay.
with that deep breath spell.
Ionatan passes.
Sparrow got a natural 20.
Nice.
I got a dirty
Wait.
20.
Oh yeah.
Um
Oh, you got a dirty 20? Shame.
The joy of having 3 fortitude.
Hold on. Alright. 1 second. Let me, because I believe it's a DC 22.
Oh, hold on. Something still broke. Never mind. I passed because my fortitude's a 6. It just didn't reset.
oh nice.
So I passed.
Oh, okay, sick.
I
Does
actually
everybody
got
pass?
23.
I
Alistair
believe
doesn't.
everyone passes. Layla passes.
Nope,
Alistair
I failed.
does not.
Oh, Alistair does not.
Yeah, I passed.
Alistair, you fall asleep. You fall unconscious as you just flop over into the bed of moss and mushrooms. But if everyone else succeeds, you watch as all the nymphs and Arceel himself begin to break down as almost the funguses begin to break down and just clutter onto the ground in kind of a rotting smell as Arceel decomposes. What's the word I was looking for? As Arceel decomposes, all you hear in your minds is, "So be it, amicus meos."
What language is he speaking in?
It's ancient Druidic. It means my friend.
Guys, I think we should get out of here. Tobin's gonna run to scoop up Alistair.
Jump into the
Roll me a
hole.
strength.
That's not good. 9. It's not very heavy, but
I'm gonna help him.
As you're kind of like fumbling over to like try to hold your breath and pick up Alistair, you kind of stumble a little bit and almost lose your breath as Alistair comes up behind you and helps grab his legs as you grab his shoulders, and Calden grabs his legs as you
Yep.
all try your ways out of the cave and into safety, into the fresh air, with the imposing jungle all around you as you all finally release your breath and are able to take in air.
I don't think I like your friends. Your friends seem very hostile.
With all due respect, I think he's been influenced by the Everdark, or that's not him.
that, I think, based on what he was saying, it could have been Volnar as well. Especially the way they've been trying to rally troops and stuff. It seems he was promised some sort of safe place, which, yeah, definitely could be Volnar or the Everdark.
Well, he didn't make it too obvious, as you see Layla massaging her throat and kind of spitting out excess and just
Well, I can't stand by and let that thing grow. I have to deal with it.
How do you suppose you're going to do that?
Well, mushrooms shrink in the cold. So, well, these mushrooms, anyway, shrink in cold. So, if you don't mind, I'm just make it cold in there.
What spell are you going to use?
I'm gonna use Blizzard.
Okay.
And hope it covers a far enough area that it limits the spread to just here. We can't afford any of this spreading more. As I am going to go back into the cave and cast Blizzard.
You cast Blizzard as you manipulate the clouds to kind of fill up the most of the area. As snow begins to rain down, as the fungus all shrivels and dies. You make your way out as this cave, going from a luscious conclave of growth to a plant graveyard. You feel kind of a cold, shriveled wind on the back of your neck as you feel bad for killing this enriched area of growth, but you know of the dangers that Arceal may provide. That you may have done it for the greater good, but it still hurts.
Ionatan, I know that even if he has been influenced, that couldn't have been easy for you, finally seeing your friend after all this time. So I just want to say I'm proud of you for keeping your cool in there.
Thank you, Tobin. Let me.
Yeah. Well, these spores are pretty widespread, so I don't know if that's a permanent solution to our problem, but that should definitely at least slow him down. For now, I say we just get out of here, head back to the manor, and see what we can do about helping Beckett.
Yeah. We've also might have an attack at the manor on our hands.
I don't think you know about that yet.
We don't know about this attack
Yeah.
yet, apparently. As,
Yeah.
you know what, fuck it. This is a good time, and this
Only
seems like
out-
important
only out.
information. Poke,
Only
poke,
Alistair.
as the invisible
Hey, it's up to him.
death poke.
I'm
Way
unconscious.
up.
Alistair knows
Oh,
about it.
yeah, he's
Mhm.
unconscious.
Yeah, he's unconscious.
Is there anything you can do for Alistair here, Ionatan?
I can examine him, see if it's like a kind of poison or sleep effect.
How do you get rid of sleep effects?
Miv. Oh, yeah.
Typically, they only last for a few rounds, but I mean, oftentimes by receiving any kind of significant damage, they will break.
Well,
You know
there
what?
is
I'll
one thing
say
we
it
can try.
just because it probably wasn't meant to last for too long. It was just enough for like a getaway for Arceal that at this point now you kind of gasp to awakenness.
Oh, I'll kind of get. I'll put his legs down as and then like grab him from the top half from Calduin and kind of stick him on his feet. You all right, buddy?
Oh God! Oh,
Bet you got a mushroom colony growing in your lungs now.
I feel like I have strep throat.
It seems well. At least you're seemingly all right. It seems that they were just using it as a method of escape. So we've decided we should probably head back to the manor now.
Good call.
You guys have a manor?
Yes, a very important manor for us to go back to. I turn over to look at Mivni. Blink twice if you can hear my thoughts.
He blinks twice.
Then hold on to your scales, because I've got something to think about. And I let my thoughts ring out from the memories of our latest encounter with the poison, about the incoming attack, and how Beckett needs to be ultimately protected.
Because the thoughts are so connected, the entire party hears the entire interactions that happened with the poison.
Oh God.
is fear of betrayal, the attack incoming, your last 4 days creating his body.
This is a lot. I would give you shit for even letting us go on this little expedition, but you kind of didn't know you were down in the hole. So
No, I thought I was still inside of my room.
yeah. Well, at least this journey only really took it would have been a little less than a day now, right? Because half a day travel time and then
Little
the
less
time
than
we spent there.
it will be an entire day when you get back to the manor because it's half
Oh,
a day's travel.
We can
That's
cut
not
it
It'll
bad.
be
shorter.
1 day.
We can cut it shorter with the addition of my horses.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should get back there as soon as possible, especially since we don't know exactly when there might be an attack. I'll call ahead and tell Kay.
Good call.
So I'll ring Kay on the sending stone and just let him know that there's supposedly an impending attack from Volnar because he's becoming impatient and aggravated. We're on our way back.
Fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. That's all he says as you hear the sending stone clutter across the room as you're in your head. The connection cuts off.
He's not happy. We better get there quick. We'll tell you what we can on the way, Sparrow. And I guess so as we're kind of like setting up the spell and going, Tom will just sit beside him and just say, so the manor is actually, you may have seen it during your time in Blackmere. It sits on a hill just outside of the Dome of Darkness. It's owned by a colleague of ours, and it's kind of our base of operation against the impending evils of the world. Uh, Being a student, I don't know how much you know about the recent incidents of the realms merging, but essentially, and much easier said than done, we kind of got to try and take it out from by the source.
Dungeon Master, how much would I know about the realms and stuff like that? Like,
So you'll know the general basis. You don't know who, you don't know why. But for some reason spread throughout all of the realms, the realm, it seems like all of the realms are coming to us. So you would know of the odd snowstorms and the freezing over the Ashen Sea, which is the desert wild area just south of Veilbridge, which is your home's sister continent. You'll know of the odd vegetation that has grown within the jungles of Marswell, your home itself, and that it seems like plants from the Fey realm have been growing within the jungle. You'll know of the fall of the of Farhaven Island, as it seems to be entirely overtaken by mysterious dark forces, as the entire island seems to be wiped from existence. And even looking upon it, you see kind of the colors would have been like gray scaled and like mute, as it seems like dark tainted lands.
lovely.
You don't know why this is happening, but you know this is happening throughout the entire shores.
Cool.
We still don't know, I suppose, entirely if you're a trustable ally, but the way I see it, you would have already known about this stuff if you were some sort of spy. Not that I really suspect you of that, and if not, you haven't run away during this journey, so you may prove to be a sensible ally. So
Oh,
until
trust me, you guys are my main lead. If I let you all fail and die, then that means my mission pretty much fails and dies for the time being. So I'd rather not lose such an important lead.
well,
While this is while all
go
this
ahead.
is going on, I'm going to be enchanting the ethereal mount wand.
As
Perfect.
as far as Amarath goes, as soon as there's time, we will definitely be having at least an indirect altercation with him, as we need something else he has to help save our friend. So
If you don't mind me asking, what does he have that you're after?
I think it's best if we wait till we're back at the manor to discuss such things.
Very well.
Yeah, I see. Layla interrupts you. Yeah, well, we're kind of in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. If
Well,
you wanted a more secluded talk, might as well. I'm curious. I've been curious the whole time. You've been indirect with me too. What does Amarath have? Who the fuck is Amarath, and what the fuck does he have?
I don't know. Like I said, based on our brief bit so far, you seem like a nice guy, but I don't know if I want to tell you yet. What do you
Is
guys
this
think?
the same kind of conversation that we can be having a mount?
Yeah, as long as everything's ready.
Then let's go.
Back at the manor, we'll let Kay decide if he thinks we should tell you.
For new eyes, could you describe the spell that we're about to mount on?
As Alistair begins casting from his wand, what starts off as a little mote of starlight breaks out into several motes of starlight before starting to expand outward inside of an ethereal blue glow, ultimately forming the shape of a horse. The horses in question sit a few inches off of the ground and are fully equipped with saddles for everyone to climb and mount aboard. Think of it as an upgrade in number, at least, to
It's
the more
Torrent.
common phantasmal mount spell.
It's just Torrent, but a lot of them.
You see Layla walk forward towards her mountain and scratch within the ethereal starlight. They're beautiful.
Oh yeah, I guess we took them to get to her, so she hadn't seen them yet.
They technically are not real horses, but for all intents and purposes, they are the thought of a horse by the spirit of magic. If that is what a horse dreams itself to be, then that is the form it has taken.
Ah, nerd.
I believe a horse is whatever the gods created them to be, but but I mean, like, horse is a horse.
Well, I mean, it's sculpted around the thought of a horse using about 75 thalm of magic potential energy, so,
Chris, question. Do they follow your command or the command of the rider?
rider.
Rider. Okay. So as everyone's talking, I've already mounted mine and have taken off as fast as possible.
Well, we better get going.
Yep.
Yes, we can have
Agreed.
philosophical conversations about magic horses later. Let's go.
Or while we ride.
And
Well,
Layla, they will fly. Literally. In the
it
air.
may be yeah, they're pretty fast. It may be a little hard to talk while we're flying around.
You know what? Just being as concise as we want to be, the Ionatan will fly from there location deep within the jungle as they are dropped off on the porch of the Vampire Hill Manor. For new eyes, the Vampire Hill Manor is a dark and large mansion made up of dark woods and dark stones. You've heard rumors of this place. Maybe a vampire lives here to gain its name, the Vampire Hill Manor. You know, you've heard rumors that a secret organization meets here, like some weird cult.
What?
As
That's
you've
crazy.
you've heard odds and ends rumors with your time in Black Mirror as you've asked around. You all land upon the porch as the ethereal mounts fade.
Who currently has the other 25 charge wand of mine? I know I have one.
I'm not sure. I know I have the fort charge one or whatever it is that you gave me of the snow thing, but other than that,
Okay, because I had a second 25 charge wand of flame sands that I passed.
I believe it's Calduin who has it.
No, he wouldn't have it on his spell list. He'd have to be faking use magic device to use it. Whereas I gave it to someone that had it on his spell list. I think it was either Ionatan or... Okay. Alright.
They could be on a 10.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember
It
getting
might
it.
have been Ionatan.
Just
I'm
wanted
gonna
to
have
double check.
to update my item sheet.
Yeah,
forgot
because
to do that.
I haven't used any wands, but I could because, being a warlock.
Let's get in there.
Yep.
You guys push your way through the large doors as you see Kay pacing within the hallway. As you see as you open up the door, as he looks towards you. Ah, thank God.
I
We need to talk.
unfurled the enveloping pit. It's a good place to store anything that needs to be transported out, and a good way to transport people that need to get out.
Let's yeah, let's go. Let's talk. Yeah, we'll figure out the logistics once we're done with that.
Sparrow
Okay.
will approach this new person that he's never met before, reach out his hand and say, "Nice to meet you. I'm Sparrow."
Oh, we picked up another
Nice to
stray.
meet you. I don't care.
Lovely.
Okay.
Sorry, he's a bit in crisis mode now. I would tell you more, but I've never seen him like this. So let's get to the office, I assume.
Tell
You
me you
all
have a
like a little
plan.
whiskey?
I do.
Whiskey's fine.
He opens up as he leads you into the study, this small room kind of cluttered by bookcases. You see on the floor is his sending stone that he's thrown across the room and has not bothered to pick up. You see his desk kind of is disheveled in a bunch of parchments and books. So he reaches into a drawer of his desk and pulls out an old, kind of ancient bottle of whiskey as he begins pouring glasses.
Would you allow me?
Take a drink.
As I'm just gonna cast Purify Food and Water on whiskey.
Don't do that. Do not
wait,
do
that would
that.
turn to water.
That would get rid of all the alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Retcon. Dude, you would piss K. He'd probably
Retcon.
kill you.
Okay. I am going to relay a message to Mivni. And just go through the events of going to the Scar Forest, meeting Arceal, our conversation.
Who's there? Mibney was there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's given the memories so she can give them to Kay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, misunderstood. Okay, yeah, absolutely. As you relay that, as he puffs on his pipe, takes a large gulp of his whiskey. Fuck. Fucking fuck.
So how many bloodhounds are here?
Not enough. Look,
And are the dragons still here?
Tyrell is here. Her forces are here.
Good.
Kiriki has just gotten back with a few of the fairies. We have our allies gathered. And now that we have our allies gathered, they choose to attack us.
One fell swoop.
Do we defend the manor or do we fall back?
What kind of fortifications do you have on this place? There's no way it's just an old building.
Spells. Ancient spells. I can... If they attack us with magic, we're fine. But as soon as troops are on the ground, they can just walk in.
Yeah, especially even if you placed some sort of ward to keep people out, they've got those mechs.
The Sanguisines
Those-
have been their forces every other time we've seen. Why would they stop
And
now?
they're not going to care about some fucking arcane spell because they're not real, aren't they? So they're just going to walk in and destroy the place anyways. We need to lock this place down.
What about
We
the
need to make a stand here.
collector? Would that not stop them? Some of them, at least.
A what? Sorry?
The toll collector. We might get the toll collector on our side.
I don't think... I think they have another way of attacking us. I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to come
They're
in
not
from
just
any
gonna
ports.
march
I don't
through
think they're going
Blackmere.
to march. No.
Even then, they could have come in through the shipyards as just cargo and then just march in.
What if
There's
so
too many loose ends.
if this place is warded, does that mean they won't be able to make some sort of teleportation into the building?
Not into the building itself, but I can't testify for the rest of the grounds.
Yeah.
This will be, if I know the Vainglory Sex, this will be a concentrated attack. Besides our inherent, obvious issue, things are getting worse. Volnar's plan is working.
Yeah, the people
He shows you
are being
files and
swayed.
reports spread across his desk as he kind of points towards different pieces of parchments. He goes, riots in Aria, strikes in Arist, clerics hung in Lulara.
Jesus.
All because of this. He takes a stone and begins to show an arcane projection recording. You see the frail Emperor Killian. Beside him are a few Darian ministers. You see the Elder Lord Keeper and Killian's son on this stage of the recording. He seems to be like halfway through a speech. The bridge project is to be completed near the end of the year. On other news, Eris is running now at 100% efficiency after the recent tragedy. I urge our citizens not to give in to fear and not to look elsewhere for protection. Our vanguards are deployed with haste for the protections of our shores. We do not parley with godless heretics. Daria, remain strong. without the need of this self-proclaimed Pax Vindicta. You see, you hear the sounds of an angry mob can be heard before the recording shuts off.
And what of Emperor Killian?
Fine for now, but the royals are gaining a lot of slack. The common folk, the working folk, they're behind Palor, or they're behind Volnar. And they're getting violent and restless. If Blackmere falls, the Empire might fall too. And then all of the North is Volnar's game.
Did you see the mushroom spores?
Just another enemy in our line of enemies. Ionatan, I know that this might be a lot for you, but if our seal attacks us, we have to put him down.
I understand.
I don't care who he's aligned with, the Everdark or Volnar. He's a threat, and if our world works against us in our quest, that's scary.
I tried to slow it down with a blizzard spell, but I don't think it's going to contain it for long.
You may have eliminated a nest, but no matter who he's aligned with, it's gonna be a problem.
Yes, I agree. They also could be possibly using this to control the minds of the common people, potentially as well. That could be part of the answer to this.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think the whole point of this is to just sway them, to herd them like sheep, to later use them. Something more permanent than brief exposure to spores.
Like a mass extinction event to power up the Everdark, perhaps?
No, Volnar isn't. Volnar has separate goals from the Everdark.
But as far as we know, we don't know who he's aligned with.
I mean, based on his speech, it seemed like he wanted the world for himself with a new set of gods. So we know he's against the gods, but based on what he said, I don't think he wants the realms merging either.
If he's guaranteeing a whole landmass to a druidic order, chances are he has no problem wiping out a large swath of people just to ensure that, okay, he's fulfilled his end of the bargain.
Yeah, that's true, but we also could just as easily have been the Everdark offering him that, giving him his own sort of realm. It's hard to say. But I don't think that's as important right now. I think we just need to
I think it
focus.
matters at this point.
Exactly.
He's an enemy.
So, what do we need to do to protect the manor to the best of our ability?
Whatever the fuck you can do to protect the manor to your best abilities. There is protection magic, so if they attack the manor directly, we have protection. But as soon as Grand Forces hits, we I can't protect you. We don't have spells on the ground. There's a reason why people can just enter.
Yeah. All right.
We'll take care of the ground forces. Don't you
Yeah.
worry. Leave that shit to us. As for me, I need to go prepare some spells.
That's if we're expecting an attack within the week, we need to prepare now. Alistair, are you hiding anything from us?
Ask me anything you want. These people already know every secret that is worth noting from this, from the poison that he's conversed with me. My main concern at this point is making sure that we keep Beckett safe.
Yeah, agreed. The basement is it just the one entrance to the basement?
One
Okay.
entrance.
Well, that's a good start. We'll want somebody down there to protect Beckett directly, but the main goal should be to not allow anybody down there at
Look,
all.
if the poison has warned us that the attack is coming, it probably means that the tier will be here. I think it's safe to assume that that Amarath is here
So then
when
I
this
assume
attack
you'll.
takes place.
Well, that brings up my next point. I was going to say to you, Sparrow, if you wanted to leave, you could. This isn't your fight, but it appeared that now it might just be. If Amarath is going to be here.
If
And
Amarath is going to be here, then I'm going to be here.
And I suppose that also answers your question. We want the tier from him. He has that as well.
The tier of
Paylor.
the tier of Palor.
You could you make me a history check, Sparrow?
Yeah, of course. History. That's a
Knowledge.
knowledge, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
it'll be
so
knowledge.
if I did my character correctly, I should have a plus 15.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Plus
Okay.
your int bonus.
Well, that's adding my int bonus.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's I have what 8 ranks plus 2 from a miscellaneous modifier, which I think I did from I don't know what it's from, but I know I wrote it down.
Whatever.
Got that from something. I know. I remember putting that into your character sheet.
Okay, so what's the roll?
Oh, math. 23.
There you go.
The tier of Palor is the most powerful magical item that exists in the realm. The tier of Palor originated from when the northernmost continent, the Darian Empire, was destroyed by natural disaster, and the devastation wrought by it caused the god Palor so much pain that he cried a single tear upon the land, returning it back to life as rivers of lava became water, and volcanic rocks grew moss and trees around it, as the god Palor's single tear crystallized into this teardrop shaped jewel that dropped into the earth like a meteor, returning not making the earth explode not of destruction but of creation, as the life grew around this tear. And that tear was then rediscovered by this adventurer known as Lulara, who was a member of the old family that used to rule Daria. And as life and civilization returned to New Daria, that tear was brought into the safety of the Emperor's vault, which recently it had been stolen.
So you're telling me that Amarath has the Tear of Pelor in his possession.
Yeah, now imagine the things that he could do with that, having that book too.
Along with the Necronomicon.
Correct.
Yes.
So he has power over life and death, right?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, like now he gets it.
Oh, fuck.
It is of the utmost imperative that we kill him,
Or at least retrieve the tear.
or at least retrieve the tear and the Necronomicon, and then kill him if we have to.
So here's what I
Absolutely.
propose. When they attack us, we focus Amarath, we take back the tear, we take back the Necronomicon, we bring Beckett back, and then we fend everyone off. But we need this relay race to work.
Okay.
The minute Amarath falls, we need Beckett back. And then when she's back, we fight everyone off until the manor is safe. I don't care about the manor. I just need everybody to survive.
I suppose this would be a good time to ask. Who's Beckett?
Oh. Beckett
Huh.
is our
She's our companion inside of the basement that's been otherwise incapacitated by greater forces.
she's been strucken by some sort of darkness, seemingly partially from the demigod of darkness, Jeshima, as well as the father, the Everdark himself, or some place removed, at least some part of his power. And at this point, we believe the only thing that could get her back to working order is the Tear of Pelor.
I think I'm starting to understand a lot more about you lot that I must have missed in my research in finding you.
Yeah, we've made a bigger name for ourselves than we might have meant to, but there's still a lot not known to the public. So,
Clearly.
when it comes to Amarath and reviving Beckett, we need to talk about who we want where doing what. I think, firstly, Layla, do you think you could guard Beckett? With the forces drawing near and not knowing exactly who's in the rank, I'm worried that as some of these beings draw closer, it may put her body into a more aggravated state. And you seem to have been able to calm her before. So I'm hoping you, with the help of Mivni, could protect her in the basement as a sort of defense. It's a very important job, and I think you can do it.
I could do it.
Good. Or Golan, and please feel free to interject anybody if you have any other ideas. I feel like Orgolan being our best physical fighter and not so much into the magic. Would you guys agree that he might be better against the Sanguicides than against magic users? Or
Absolutely.
That's probably the best bet.
so Orgolan should be one of our vanguards against the Sanguicides. Obviously, you won't be fighting them alone. We have no idea how much they may number. And then I feel like any of the non-magic users amongst Tyrael's troops would probably be good in that endeavor as well. Obviously, we'll have to see what they come with, but melee fighters for that. So some of us, I think, should probably go against Amarath. Obviously, Sparrow wants to be part of that.
I do.
I feel as though my abilities could be used in a couple different spots, so I may ask your guys' help here to figure out what might be best for me. But what about everybody else? You guys have any thoughts on what
You see, Kay clears his throat and says, "I think we might need a little bit more light on the subject." As he gets up to grab a lantern, and as he lights it, we're gonna call another quick break.
Okay.
Kay lights the lanterns and refills everyone of whiskey and serves a mug of coffee to everyone as we stay up late in the night. As how does the arena will spend this time to prepare?
Yeah, question. Can we call like kind of I guess a sort of war council with all the available like bloodhounds, Tyrael's troops, and etc.?
Sure, you can do that as you guys file your way into the great hall as you kind of have some of the lackeys set up like almost like a raised platform of chairs kind of sitting on top of one of the tables as you have the rest of the table set out for all of the forces to sit within as all of you kind of sitting on this raised platform as like the main decider. As you see, yeah, you guys all get a chair. Dale gets a chair, Kay gets a chair, Saphiri gets a chair, Tiru gets a chair.
Oh, we even got Saphiri's men here? Hell yeah.
So as all of the different groups, all of your forces begin to flood into the chamber, you see the White Hand and the 13 clans of Hordlings. These are Tyrael's offsprings. As uh you see the White Hand, the Hordlings begin to flood in. You also see a scarce amount of Bloodhound agents. You see Mr. Kiriki walk in as he's surrounded by some Fey folk as he's brought them back from his expedition into the Marswell jungle. You see Saphiri's dog folk barbarians as they also fled into the chamber.
Okay.
As your forces kind of all look to you guys sitting at the helm on this raised platform with Kay, Saphiri, and Vidale and Tyrael. Kay fills everyone in on the inherent danger that there's going to be an attack.
Perfect. All right. Once everyone's filled in, Tobin kind of like nervously like wow, this is a lot of people. Will stand up, be like so Kay just filled you in, and now we need to start planning for this attack. So Tomer's going to start like going through it, and then as he like starts to get into like the what he wants people doing, he starts to gain a little like flow and gain a little like confidence as he'll start being like, so first of all, we want to, I think, as far as it goes to warriors, we'll get into that for a second in a second, but Alistair, do you think you can handle battlefield fortifications? Any sort of I've seen what you can do with like even just your stone walls helping us hold up a building. I feel like even though we know we have less than a week, I hope you can do all you can to set up any sort of traps or fortifications or anything like that. You think that's what you want to do?
I think I can throw together some nice little improvised options. Uh, does anyone think? Well, I mean, does anyone mind if we tap some of the resources of Blackmere and maybe buy some scrolls, some tools from inside of the city?
I think at this point we should use all the equipment, assistance, whatever we think is at our disposal, and whether that means going into Blackmere and purchasing some items. I think we're this is a desperate time, and it calls for desperate measures.
Kiriki, are you willing to spare some of your wares and let us know where we might be able to buy others?
Absolutely, my wares are completely and honestly free for our efforts. Anything you require from my shop, I can provide. And as he kind of begins to continue to try waffle on, you see Kay interrupts and he goes, and anything else that we would need from the town, I can pay for with my own supply of money.
Good. So, Alistair and Kiriki, I suggest you two meet up after this council and start seeing what your options are. I'm sure uh, anything in Kiriki's stock he'll be able to tell you about, and anything else possibly available to buy in town, I'm sure he'll know, being a shop owner down there.
I mean, of course, but Sir Raymond, I have never been in war before.
That's why
I'm
you
just
guys
a
are
salesman.
handling. That's why you guys are handling fortifications. There's no need for you to be on the battlefield.
I will do my part, Sir Tobin.
Now, getting into battlefield, the way I see it, there's going to be most likely an army of sanguicides. Anybody who's not familiar with them yet, they are these large. Alistair, would you mind explaining you have a bit more technical prowess, what they are and the possible turned mechs that they may or may not still have from Eris?
The Sanguicides stand about 1.5 times the size of a man. They're extremely capable as far as obeying orders. They are extremely effective as far as being able to take a hit as well. They are intelligent. They will obey orders. They will even abstract their orders. They are capable of diverting command from one unit to another. But one of the greatest and most terrifying aspects of them is the fact that they do contain a soul. That is, at the core, how intelligent they are. I don't believe that we've ever seen them use ranged weapons, but I have very little doubt that there's any number of variations that could exist within their ranks. So far, I believe that every time that we've had dealings with them, they've relied exclusively inside of heavy melee combat. We have never seen them utilize any form of movement outside of ground force, so I so far have not observed any use of the ability to pass through water or to fly. We have not seen them be able to travel freely through the earth either. So use what you will to gain from that knowledge as you may.
Good. Thank you, Alistair. So, when it comes to fighting them, I think our best option will be to have the majority of our melee fighters locked in combat with them. I can definitely see that a lot of us among us seem to wield weapons that they are proficient with. So, with that being said, any spellcasters that mainly rely on um, support magic will be allocated to the support of this vanguard in order to buff them up against these tough armored enemies. When it comes to the retrieval of the tier, we have full reason to believe that Amarath will be the necromancer, will be the one to have it. So we want a few people, we want some people to be able to engage him in close combat, and I think the best way for us to do that is any spellcasters who focus their skills on counter spells and a battlefield controlling, things of the like, will be with those fighters in order to stop Amarath and any powerful allies he may have with him that are capable of spell casting, in order to mitigate the possible amount of spells he could cast, especially since we have to assume he's powered up by the tier of Palor. With that in mind, we'll divvy up any spellcasters in that way when it comes as we finish up this meeting. So please keep in mind what you may want to do and what you are proficient in, and anything that you're lacking when when it's over with fortifications and stuff. Maybe if there's time, we still only know that it's within the next week. Maybe Alistair, do you think you could perhaps come up with some helpful wands, or do you think you'll be mostly preoccupied with fortifications?
I think I'm going to be preoccupied. I'm sorry.
That's fine. So any other spellcasters will find a place for you, probably in the vanguard and in the defense of the manor. So
You
when it comes,
see,
yeah, go for it.
Tyrael, the White Dragon, she interrupts you and raises her hand and says, "My offsprings are not in. Do not regard magic for strength. They are much more melee driven creatures. But Leon and I could provide backup for them within melee combat."
That's good. That's good. Yes, we're probably going to be fairly limited on the number of spellcasters. Looking out in this room, it seems that most here are probably more involved in the melee. So that's good, because the Sanguicides are a powerful foe. So just any help we can get with fortifications are good. And now when it comes
Do
to...
not forget that Chandra's offsprings are in alignment with the Vainglorious X, and we can imagine that the Red Spawn, Arcanus, and Firebelchers will be present during
Yeah.
the attack.
Which is precisely why we'll have to make our fortifications as good as possible, just due to the ranged spell potential that, well, Kay had mentioned that the at this point, the protection of the manor is not the top of the priority. We want to keep everybody safe, which is why we want to support people as much as we can, but we also need to keep any injured and people who are unable to fight safe within the manor, which is why, other than the main vanguard that will charge their main melee forces, we're also going to need people to defend the manor to not let anybody get through. This will have to be broken into ranged fighters, anybody with bows, or other ranged attacks, as well as a just regular defensive force to if anybody were to get past our fortifications. We'll have to speak to everybody and find out their abilities, but as far as that goes, we'll break into groups based on what you're proficient in after this meeting adjourns, and we'll figure out, based on what numbers we have for each thing, where everybody should be, I suppose.
You see Cavern rise from his seat. He says, "The White Hand devotes our lives to you, General Tobin. We will do what you require."
Good. So, white spawns. What do we got? So we've got hordelings.
We have the 13 clans of the Hordlings. We
Uh-huh.
have the White Hand, which is the Ice Skitters and the Hunters.
Okay.
You have a small league of Fae. You have a Saphiri's Dogfolk troop.
Yep.
You have a scattered handful of Bloodhounds, including Milo and basically just including Milo at this point.
So, well, there's probably like some nameless ones, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there are some
okay.
nameless,
So
nameless ones, but it's a
between the
small
Fae
handful.
and the Blood Hunters, there's got to be some like magic users, right? I would assume the Fae have some magic.
The Fae are magic users.
Okay.
As far as your troop go, there isn't a lot of spellcasting mains except for
Yeah.
probably the Fae,
Okay.
which handle more in like trickery magic.
Okay.
But the Bloodhounds are more physical. The White Hand and the Hordlings are physical. You have
So-
your group. Vidale is long range, and she's kind of a cleric.
So she'd have similar kind of stuff to like what Becca had, so she'd probably have like some of those like buffing spells, right, and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And then there's also Tyrael and Leon that can buff up their because like
Yeah, they're
the main
also spellcasters, so they could buff up their troops.
yeah the main thing we want we've got lots of fighters, so I feel like buffing up the fighters isn't going to be as big of a thing we need, but for the few that can, we're probably going to want a decent bit of our spellcasters in the battle with Amarath, just to make sure for any like counter spells and stuff like that for anybody who can.
But I mean, ECK kind of nods along and says, "But with his power over the undead, you'd probably want a few still fighters to be able to fight off the hordes, right?"
Yeah, the hope is to stop him from casting any spells while he's here, but there's no guarantee that he that he won't show up with troops already. We've got lots of melee fighters, so I think between the different variety of fighters, we'll definitely be able to divvy our troops up into the main vanguard, the defensive vanguard, the range. We've got to have some range fighters, right? Like we gotta.
You have some range fighters,
Yeah.
a few of the bloodhounds do have some range.
Okay, so like
especially with training under K, like they're trained marksmen. So
true,
you do
true.
have some ranged
So-
fighters when it comes to the bloodhounds.
That's good.
Speaking of
Go
which,
ahead.
I lead in towards Tobin. I've got a plan for Milo. Keep him out of it.
I just kind of like like a visor over the shoulder, just whispering to me, So yeah, we'll split our melee troops between the main vanguard to fight any of their melee forces, some to help keep any summoning or anything that Amarath does to a minimum, as well as being able, if we are to interrupt him while he's spellcasting, it's good to have some fighters that can get in there and do some serious damage to him, as well as our defensive force, and then that will be on our side of any fortifications, and then any ranged fighters split up between the three groups, just to add in support. And then once we have a good inventory of any magic users and what they're capable of, we'll get them mixed in where needed.
I have a couple that I would like to address.
What's that?
Do we have any idea if Nar might have repaired and therefore might potentially bring in some of those titans we fought in Eris?
Yeah, I had mentioned that at the beginning as well. I'm not sure, so that's why we need to be ready with fortifications to hopefully. Go ahead.
Judging by your information, the information that you had provided, this attack is from Volnar's forces, the Vainglorious Act. But with the report that you brought back from Eris, were the turned Titans not on the side of the Everdark, in which that they were fighting against the Everdark?
That's kind of.
And so I don't think the Titans would be a threat in this circumstance, as they don't think they were entirely aligned during your time in Eris, no?
Were they not like Pax Vindicta, like all like
No, they were
Volnar
not.
groupie? Oh.
They were under the influence of the runes.
Oh
of
right,
the
but
Father.
then and then the Sanguisice came in and we're all Pax Vindicta. Okay, yeah.
Yes, and they also worked with us in order to secure the additional locations that were under flame.
That's right. So yeah, we probably won't have to worry about them, but that's not to say that there may not be variations of Sanguisice that now have ranged and other capabilities. So we have to be prepared for that as well, which is why we have to make sure any marksmen or ranged fighters are prepared as well. That and the potential of Chandra's forces coming in with many destructive flame spells.
Yes, of course. The other issue that I would like to address would be the corpses under Palos as well.
What about them?
Well, if this was part of their plan to get us all here in one concentrated spot, then Amarath might have pulled back into Palos to potentially resurrect all of those corpses. And that could be additional force that we would have to contend with.
We're already
Assuming,
we're already worried about him having undead troops anyways, so that could just kind of add into that. But then there's also the worry of graveyard. If he's able to stir any of those corpses there, that might not be good for us either. So
yes.
we'll see if there's anything we can do about that.
I could try maybe casting hollow around the ground, a hallow spell around the grounds to make it a holy site. See if that might work.
How
How long would that take to cast?
Well, let's just let me just think about this for one.
Although if he has the tier, wouldn't that mean that anything like that would just be useless anyways?
We do not know. You see, Vidal to chime in. We do not know what the capabilities of what the tier is like in the hands of our enemies.
exactly?
If it worked for him to resurrect Zodak, then I do not see it. It may not be a holy artifact in his hands.
Absolutely, and weren't even that sure of the tier's capabilities to the full extent in good hands based on what you told us about your research. So it's kind of seems like an anything goes situation here, and we have to do our best to be ready for anything. And that's
Tobin,
much
I would
easier
like to
said
be
than
on the
done.
front lines, but I think once the tier is retrieved, I think I'm the only person who's able to bring her back.
Then
So as much as you want Layla down to protect Beckett, if you allow me down there, you could have Layla up on the main stage with you.
shut up, Vidal. Yeah, that's unless you want to play the role of the once we get the tier, we're gonna need somebody to get it down to you if you're down there. So
So
if you want to
they're
be
not
down,
after Beckett. If I stayed up on the porch and you brought me the tier and I could run down and bring Beckett back, they're not
the
after her.
yeah.
You
So
you leave me to figure out the tier. If the tier does get down to Beckett, somebody's gonna need to protect if there's gonna be some ritual. We'll still need Layla down there for protection.
yeah, definitely. So, but your skills could also, especially with our lack of magical, depending on how much energy you think it will take to use the tier in such a way. If you do want to wait on the porch, you could be very useful for providing battlefield support until we get the tier to you and you're making your way down to the basement.
Sounds like a plan.
What are the highest vantage points at the manor? Are there upper balconies? Is there an
There's a
observatory that
few
we
upper
could look down?
balconies. There's access up onto the roof.
I think that I may try to stay upwardly mobile for when the battle is begun. I'm thinking that for the most part, while I set up the battlefield fortifications in advance, when steel strikes steel, I'd like to be in the upper parapets.
That seems smart.
A nods and says, "My bloodhounds will protect you. We could have my bloodhound forces be mainly ranged because that's what we lack right now. All of them have experience with firearms. We could have our bloodhounds be our ranged troops on the roof and on the parapets.
It's good.
How long are the sides of the manor? Would it be feasible for me to establish some wall of stone spells around the base of the manor so that way we can look forward to using them in order to defend, to reinforce?
That could work. That could work. We could have the White Hand down in the trenches fighting behind your walls of stone.
Finally, there's a very important magic item that I would like to see if it's available inside of Blackmere. It's called a Lyre of Building. Once it's been strummed, it's capable of defending a single object against all forms of damage from from an orb of annihilation, disintegrates spells, catapults, even conventional siege weaponry. If they were to bring in cannons, the manor would remain unfazed. But it would only work for
As
30 minutes.
you describe this magical item, you see the double doors of the Great Hall perch open as Ionatan, a familiar sight to you, a man wheels an elderly man on a wheelchair. Ionatan, you recognize the man wheeling, pushing the wheelchair in. Is he takes the form of the likeness of your former chieftain. You see the form that Varus prefers to take when talking to you as he wheels in an elderly man dressed in all white and gold. You see a gold pendant lays across on a necklace. As you all recognize this older man, but have a hard time placing on who he is because of the form he takes. But as you all recognize the symbol on his pendant, it's a symbol of Palor. As you all recognize the man in the wheelchair is an elderly form of the god of peace and light, Palor, being wheeled in by the nature dragon, Varus.
Holy shit.
Like the Paylor just came into the fucking house.
The
Straight up.
Palor just entered the house. As almost sunlight kind of shines in behind him as you look upon him. He says, I could make your device, young Hallister.
Barrow's going to quickly drop to a knee as to not disrespect the god.
You see Vidal, who's a servant of Palor, has also already dropped to a knee.
Tobin waves.
Jonathan's going to take a knee as well.
I continue to stand, but I look him at least appreciatively inside of the eye and say, that would do much to bring favor to my eyes.
Bagdar and Arkados will not be happy with my presence here. But this is where I have to be. Please stop kneeling. We have much plans to build ahead of us.
Sparrow's gonna get up and kind of walk and turn towards Alistar, and he's gonna say, "So I also have the ability to help if you need with making those walls of stone, unless you think my time spent better elsewhere."
I would appreciate your aid in spell casting, though I think that it's best that we have a conversation later to work out what the best route of using it would be.
Of course.
And I think with that, as the larger war planning council comes to an end, we see each of the different teams begin to break off to begin to discuss their strengths and weaknesses to defend Vampire Hill Manor against ill forces. Where we're going to catch up with our players next week as they continue to prepare against this warring assault. Fair. Let's do inspiration points. I think we haven't done inspiration points for a while. Let's start with Owen. Haven't heard you speak once. Who deserves the inspiration point?
I think he's been frozen for like most of the session.
I'm gonna say Tobin.
Tobin.
No
All right.
particular.
What do you got? What do you got, Tobin? Who do you think deserves it?
Oh, let's see here. I guess I'll probably just go with Ionatan. You know, we were finishing up his mission there. He did a good job interacting with his old friend, and his character himself doing a good job keeping cool and not getting led by temptation or losing his temper. So
All right, Nate. What about you?
I think Sparrow gets the inspiration point for this episode.
All right, Charlotte. Inspiration point is mainly just like a standout character who just really played a pivotal role in the session. Who do you think deserves an inspiration point?
I think I'm gonna give it to Tobin. He led the main conversation, took control, and pretty much just got our entire group organized in what we should and what we can do, which allowed the rest of us to really think about what we can do. And now we're actually developing a full-on plan for a siege.
Love it. What about you, Liam? What do you think?
It's a mix between Tobin and Ionatan. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Ionatan because of the good role playing earlier, and also trying to put a stop to the spores with the blizzard.
Mm-hmm. Alistair, what about you? What do you think?
I would have said for the entire first half Ionatan, and for the entire second half it was Tobin. So both of them were magnificent inside of their individual roles and inside of each of the halves of our evening's game.
I completely agree with you. But I also think that everyone's gonna get an inspiration point.
Yay!
Yeah.
So, Charlotte, an inspiration point, you can use it to reroll any d20 roll.
That's gonna be very important when
Or
I do a counter spell that really matters.
yeah, right.
exactly. Or if like on a melee attack, you can choose to use your inspiration point to automatically crit.
Oh, that's adorable. You think that Sparrow's gonna make a melee attack?
That's true.
Honestly, I forgot we could do that.
Everyone gets Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, it's you don't technically get like so when you spend an inspiration point on an attack, you don't get double damage, but you get the roll on the crit table.
It'd still be helpful because I've missed most of my attacks because of that.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that too.
Well, don't forget about
All
that.
right.
All right.
Would you be
With that
able?
all said,
Sorry,
sorry,
quick
what's up?
question. Would you be able to use the inspiration point to perhaps negate a critical hit on yourself?
No,
Okay, just curious.
I asked that.
I just figured I'd ask just in case. Save me from imminent death.
Alter Fortune is the only one that can counter a crit.
True. True. Well, can I have silvery barbs from 5th edition, please?
Oh God,
No.
no.
It would just
Your
give me a
character
with
dies.
that being said, Nate,
Bye. Have a wonderful time.
Peace.
see you next time.